Financial Services Committee Chairman, and he's also a CNBC contributor. And former Indiana Congressman David McIntosh, he's now president of the Club for Growth. Congressman, thanks for joining us. And
great to be with you.
To call Congressman Frank chairman all the time. I think that's...
Yeah, probably the rule is you get called whatever you peaked at for the rest of your life.
Exactly. We don't want to... you got much more to do still. You're not on the downward slide, neither one of you gentlemen. So whoever wants to start, I mean, Congressman, do you think that the economy is going to be the winning issue, the Trump economy, for the Democrats?
No, I don't think it'll be the winning issue. What's striking is that it won't be the winning issue. I think for Mr. Trump, it's an unusual situation in which the economy appears to be less of an issue than it has been.
Right, but it sounds like you're conceding that the economy is pretty good, but personal issues or whatever problems you have with Trump could outweigh what is a good economy. That's not.
Although we will argue, and I firmly believe that and this is part of Trump's problem. I don't think the economy lasts. I think it is clearer and clearer that it was the uber Keynesian approach of a huge deficit that supercharged the economy. And by the way, among those who appears to be convinced that the economy is not in all that good shape is Donald Trump, because this assault on the Fed. And by the way, I've never agreed that you couldn't criticize the Fed. I thought Greenspan was over-venerated. But what Trump is saying is, hey, the economy is a little shakier maybe than it looks, and I think that's what we will be able to talk about. But the other piece, and I think it is the microeconomic issues that'll be more important, beginning with health care.
I wonder if because you do need to look, I think, at, like you said, maybe go take a deeper dive in the economy, because David, I'm wondering whether independence, I know Democrats, this is income inequality we've had Frank Luntz on, he's going to be on again, and they've never been more sort of energized by that argument. But I'm just wondering if independence, and certainly I know Republicans, when we hear, you know, we don't want a food fight, we want to try and put food on Americans' table, and just things are so bad right now. It just, with where unemployment is, for overall and for minorities and you know, GDP or any of the measures the stock market, any of the measures you look at, to keep hammering how bad the economy is just seems disingenuous to me to independence.
No, I think, and what's more, Joe, I think what the debate showed is almost all of the Democrats up there will hand Trump an opportunity to make the economy an issue because they've become so radical about their programs on the new Green Deal, huge tax increases that would stifle the job creation that is helping middle America, and people there see it. And what Trump can say is they're going to take that all away from you. And so essentially, you might not like my style, but I'm helping you a lot, and it'll get a lot worse for you and your kids if you go to one of these more radical Democrats. That's what I think will happen in the fall. Last night, what we saw was more an inter-party fight on more of the social issues. In particular, Kamala Harris's attack on Joe Biden on the busing issue. And we've been polling the Democrat primary voters, and more than the economy, they care a great deal about Biden's history on busing and things like that. So she took advantage of it and really kind of launched herself as a credible candidate on that issue. Interestingly, she also said, I'm going to be for a tax cut, which set her apart from the Democrats. So she both advanced in the primary and laid the ground for the fall that she might be the one that could be credible on economic issues.
I wonder if she can, that's what I was thinking, that Kamala Harris might throw a bone to centrists, because if she gets in a position where she looks like she's, you know, really starting to poll well, she could bring in some people. Because I'm not sure raising your hand for free health care or health coverage for illegals, I don't know what that would poll nationally. Do you, Congressman Frank?
I don't think it's that bad an issue. What part of the problem here is a practical one. Do you want a lot of sick people walking around? Do you want people with contagious diseases?
But if we have no borders, if you combine everything, where everyone's going to want to come here.
But we're not combining everything.
Kind of.
Nobody's for open borders. Maybe a handful of people. I think you saw this in what Dave said. There's an alliance between many Republicans and conservatives and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to greatly magnify her influence. In fact, as far as the Green New Deal is concerned, and you have Nancy Pelosi as the dominant Democrat, fortunately, in my view, by the time this election season comes up a year from now, it will be clear that the Green New Deal was nowhere. It hadn't happened. The Democrats are focusing on health care.
But Barney,
I'm sorry, David,
almost everyone,
please,
but almost all the candidates said they're for it.
Excuse me, are we going to get interrupting, or are we going to give each other a chance?
Well, don't go right ahead.
Thank you. The fact is that they are not going to be enacting the Green New Deal. I do agree. The Medicare for All, abolishing private insurance, is a problem. I don't think in the end there's going to be a nominee who supports that. And part of it is, and David said he's been polling, the Democratic voters in the primary appear to be much more realistic to the frustration of some on the other side than this. And I think what you will see the Democrats talking about is, first of all, and this is the biggest single one, infrastructure, which has great appeal, which Trump said he was for, disappeared with the magnitude of the tax cut. And one of the things I think the Democrats will be talking about is taking some of the money back from the upper end in the tax cut and putting it into infrastructure.
So what we're seeing, I would say, is the Democrat Party shifting from where Barney was, which is let's think about these real issues on the economy and infrastructure, to a much more progressive. They're trying to nail down their progressive base in these primaries, but in doing so, most of the candidates on the stage last night and the night before embraced the new Green Deal. Even Joe Biden came very close to it with his own version of
Did you hear when
Green
Kamala
Deal.
Harris was asked, do you think they have to pay for all of this? She used this example, which I really hate, which is, look, the Republicans didn't seem to care when they raised taxes. We shouldn't care either, which I also hate.
No,
on the other
not
end.
raise taxes when they
lower taxes.
Well, first of all, I think it is clear that I think there are about 107 people in the country who were genuinely concerned about the deficit over everything. For everybody else, it's a stick you use to beat your opponents. But the key, I think, is this. I want to go back on the Green New Deal. Yes, presidential candidates say things because, and we know that, and everybody knows, the primary electorates on both sides are more ideologically committed than the general electorate. Now, I don't think they'll be quite as blatant as the Etch-a-Sketch guy from Mitt Romney, who said, oh, this is all going to be Etch-a-Sketched after the primary. But look at the Congress, look at Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic majority. You will not see anything very radical enacted. They'll be pushing for infrastructure. They'll be pushing for health care. And by a year from now, the threat of the Green New Deal isn't going to be credible because Democrats, having controlled the House for all that time, won't have advanced it.
But I think that Etch-a-Sketch was right next to the binder full of women, right? Remember
yes,
that? He was a genius, wasn't he, for someone that... So you still think it's going to be a Biden?
I think that is likely.
You think so, David?
I think he has some weaknesses that Harris pointed out with potentially could lose the support he has among the Democratic black voters.
Do you think she'd take a Veep spot for him?
Oh, yeah. The last person who turned down the vice presidency was Hiram Johnson in 1920 when he said he wasn't going to be Warren Harding's vice president and therefore lost a chance to be president.
I just read Andrew Yang is accepted Secretary of Commerce already, apparently. So I read that. Yeah,
that's what he's running for.
Yeah,
huh?
no. Anyway,
now we know.
Gentlemen, thank you, Congressman.
Great to see you. Okay.
David, Joe Donnelly says hello. I don't know
I want to ask you about
wonderful.
the bank stress tests and everything else, but we can't do that now. We got 2 big hours ahead. We will be back in just a moment.